Welcome to my channel. If you want to hear my story, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments where you are watching from. I never thought I'd find love again. For 15 long years I lived alone, in a house filled with echoes of memories, both happy and painful. After my husband passed away, I believed my life was over. My children were grown, busy with their own lives, and I resigned myself to solitude. I convinced myself that I was destined to live out my days quietly, in the corner of my own home. But life, as it often does, had other plans. One ordinary afternoon, while volunteering at a local community center, I met him, David. He was kind, gentle, and had a warmth that made me feel young again. At first I doubted it could last. After all, who falls in love at my age? But with every smile, every conversation, every shared cup of tea, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: hope. Over time, David and I grew inseparable. He didn't see me as an old woman, broken and lonely. He saw me as I had once been, full of life, full of laughter. And slowly, hesitantly, I allowed myself to imagine a future with him. I dared to dream of happiness again. We decided to marry. It wasn't a grand wedding, just a simple ceremony surrounded by friends who had become like family. I didn't expect my grown children to make a fuss. I thought maybe they'd attend, or at least send congratulations. But I didn't anticipate the coldness, the indifference that awaited me. On the morning of the wedding, my heart was a mixture of excitement and nervousness. I wore my dress, a simple yet elegant gown that made me feel beautiful. David held my hand, whispering words of encouragement, reminding me that this day was ours. Then my phone buzzed. A message from my daughter. My heart skipped a beat. "Don't get married." "Get out of there! We need to talk urgently." I froze, my hand trembling. My daughter, my flesh and blood, was telling me to stop my wedding at the very last moment. Confusion, fear, and sadness swirled within me. I looked at David, and he held my gaze firmly, his eyes telling me to trust him, to trust our love. I tried to reach my daughter, but she didn't answer my calls. I tried to reason with myself. Perhaps she was stressed. Perhaps she was trying to protect me from something I couldn't yet understand. But deep down I knew. I knew that it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was something more painful, something I feared. The ceremony hall was filled with flowers, laughter, and music. I could see guests mingling, ready to celebrate with us. And yet, as I glanced around, a sinking feeling took hold. My family wasn't there. None of them. Not my son, not my daughter, not even my grandchildren. I wanted to scream, to cry, to run away, but I took a deep breath. I walked toward David step by trembling step. I reminded myself that I wasn't alone. I had him. And for once in 15 years, I chose to put my happiness first, despite the emptiness my family's absence caused. Little did I know that the storm about to unfold wasn't just about their absence, it was about secrets, betrayals, and truths that would shatter my world even more than their absence had already done. As I stood there holding David's hand, my eyes scanned the room again. Friends and neighbors smiled warmly at us. But the empty spaces where my family should have been were glaring. My heart ached. I kept thinking, how could they choose someone else's celebration over my wedding, over me? I remembered the mornings when I raised my children, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices I made for them. I had always put them first, even when it hurt me. And now, in my moment of joy, they were absent. Not even a simple phone call, a text, or a note of congratulations. Nothing, just silence. David squeezed my hand gently. "Don't let this ruin your day," he whispered. "They may not understand now, but we have each other." His words gave me some comfort, but the ache in my chest remained. Suddenly my phone buzzed again. Another message from my daughter. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to tell you before. But please, just wait until after the wedding. We need to talk. It's urgent." "I can't explain here." I stared at the words, confused and frustrated. How could something be so urgent that it couldn't wait for 5 minutes? And why would she ask me to go on with the ceremony, knowing that I was already hurt by her absence? The hall started to fill with music. The ceremony was about to begin. I looked at David and his eyes met mine. There was trust there, unwavering and pure. He didn't judge me for the absence of my family. He didn't hesitate. He loved me for who I was, not for who my family was. I took a deep breath and reminded myself why I was here. I had spent 15 years alone, thinking happiness was impossible. And now, in front of everyone, I was finally going to step into a new chapter of my life, a chapter I had chosen. with someone who truly loved me. The moment came. I started walking down the aisle, each step heavier than the last, not from the dress, but from the absence of those I expected to be there. I could hear whispers among the guests, the soft clinking of glasses, the faint music playing in the background. But inside I felt a storm, a mix of joy, fear, and heartbreak. As I reached David, I saw his smile. It was warm, reassuring, and full of love. I realized then that this day wasn't just about the wedding. It was about standing up for myself, about embracing happiness after years of waiting, and about showing the world that love has no age. And yet, a small part of me wondered what my daughter would say when she finally spoke. What secret had kept her away? Why had my entire family chosen my son-in-law's birthday over my wedding? My mind raced with questions, but I forced myself to focus on the man beside me, the man who had given me hope, love, and a reason to smile again. Little did I know that what awaited me after the ceremony would change everything. I thought I knew about my family, about loyalty, and about the people I trusted most, and I was about to discover a truth I never expected, one that would leave me questioning my entire life. The ceremony ended, and we exchanged vows, sealed with tears and laughter. David held my hand as we promised each other a lifetime of love. And for a fleeting moment, I felt invincible. The pain of my family's absence was still there, but it was softened by the love in the room, the friends who had come to celebrate us, and the man who had restored my faith and happiness. After the ceremony, the guests congratulated us, sharing smiles and warm hugs. I tried to immerse myself in their joy, but my mind kept drifting back to my daughter's text. What could be so urgent that she didn't even show up at my wedding? I couldn't stop thinking about her words. We need to talk urgently. Finally, the guests began leaving, and the hall slowly emptied. David and I sat down, sipping champagne in a quiet corner. "Should we call her again?" I asked him, my voice trembling. He shook his head gently. "Let her reach out when she's ready. Right now, this is our moment. You deserve to enjoy it." I nodded, trying to push the anxiety aside. But even as I laughed and shared stories with David, a small voice inside me whispered, "Something isn't right. Something is being hidden." Later that evening, after the last guest had left, my phone buzzed once more. This time, it was a video message from my daughter. My hands shook as I opened it. Her face appeared on the screen, pale and anxious. "Mom, I'm so sorry for not being there. I didn't want to ruin your day, but I can't keep this a secret any longer," she began, her voice breaking. "Your son-in-law, he's planning something about the inheritance. It's complicated, and I didn't know how to tell you." My heart skipped a beat. "My son-in-law, inheritance?" I blinked, trying to process her words. I felt a wave of anger, confusion, and betrayal wash over me. Was this why my family had abandoned me? Had my happiness been sacrificed for greed, for money, for secrets I wasn't supposed to know? David noticed my change in expression. "What's wrong?" he asked, concerned. I looked at him, tears brimming. "It's my daughter. She's saying there's something about my son-in-law. Something serious." David held me close. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together. We promised each other forever, remember?" I nodded, trying to calm myself. But deep down, I knew that this was just the beginning. The cheerful wedding day had masked a storm, one that had been brewing beneath the surface for years. And now, with my family's betrayal laid bare, I realized that the path to true happiness would not be simple. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything: David, my children, the life I had built, and the secrets that were about to unravel. I understood that love had found me. Yes, but it would take more than love to survive the deceit, the greed, and the heartbreak waiting just around the corner. And somewhere deep inside, a small part of me feared that the woman I trusted most, my daughter, might have played a role in the very betrayal that could destroy everything I had fought for. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy heart. The joy of my wedding had faded into a haze of confusion and dread. I couldn't stop replaying my daughter's video in my mind. My son-in-law, inheritance, secrets. What had I missed all these years? How could my family abandon me on the most important day of my life? David noticed my silence as we had breakfast. "Talk to her," he said gently. "Maybe she can explain everything. Don't let your imagination run wild before hearing the truth." I wanted to believe him, but my trust had already been shaken. After 15 years of loneliness, I had finally allowed myself to be vulnerable. only to have my own family treat my happiness as unimportant. I picked up my phone and called my daughter. This time she answered immediately, her voice trembling. "Mom, please, you have to come over. I can't tell you everything over the phone. It's serious." I agreed reluctantly, promising David I would be careful. I drove to her house, my hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. Each turn, each passing block made my anxiety grow. What awaited me? What truths would she reveal? When I arrived, she met me at the door. Her eyes were red, and she looked both desperate and guilty. "Mom, thank you for coming," she whispered, pulling me inside. Once we were seated, she began hesitatingly. "I didn't want to hurt you on your wedding day, so I waited. But you deserve to know the truth. Your son-in-law, he's been planning to take control of your property. He's manipulating everyone, and your family went along with it. They didn't come to the wedding because they were invited to his birthday party. And they chose that over you?" My hands shook. The world seemed to tilt around me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All these years, I had trusted my children, loved them, sacrificed for them, and they had allowed someone else to manipulate them. Tears streamed down my face as I tried to absorb the betrayal. My daughter reached out and held my hand. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't want to ruin your happiness, but I couldn't stay silent anymore. You deserve to know the truth before it's too late." I sat back, feeling a whirlwind of emotions, anger, heartbreak, disbelief. 15 years of being alone had prepared me for loneliness. Yes, but not for betrayal by my own blood. And now, on the day I should have been celebrating love, I faced a truth more painful than anything I had endured in my solitude. David called me just as I was leaving, sensing my distress. "Whatever happens, I'm with you," he said softly. His words were a balm to my aching heart. Despite everything, he had chosen me. He had proven that love could still exist, even when family failed. As I drove home, I knew one thing. I could no longer ignore the deception. I had to confront my family, face the betrayal head-on, and protect the life I was finally trying to rebuild. But deep down, I feared that the confrontation would leave wounds that might never heal. The woman who had spent 15 years in loneliness was now stepping into a battle of trust, love, and betrayal. And nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be the same again. That evening, I arrived home and sat quietly, trying to make sense of everything my daughter had revealed. My mind raced with questions. How long had my son-in-law been plotting this? How many secrets had my family hidden from me? And most painfully, why hadn't they stood by me on my wedding day? David noticed my troubled expression. "We can face this together," he said, squeezing my hand. "You've waited 15 years for happiness. Don't let anyone take it from you now." I wanted to believe him, but the pain of betrayal was heavy. I decided that I needed answers directly from my family. The next morning, I called my son and daughter. I could hear the hesitation in their voices when they answered. "Mom, my son began. "Save it," I interrupted, my voice trembling but firm. "I know about the birthday party. I know why none of you came to my wedding. I want the truth, all of it, right now." There was silence on the other end. Then my daughter spoke, her voice small and guilty. "Mom, it's complicated. Your son-in-law, he promised things, made arrangements, and we didn't want to upset you on your special day. We thought you'd understand later." "Understand later?" I repeated, disbelief and anger rising. "You chose someone else's celebration over the most important day of my life. After everything I did for you, you stood by while he manipulated you." My son tried to interject, but I cut him off. "No, I want to hear the truth. Every detail." They hesitated, finally confessing the full story. My son-in-law had been scheming to gain control over my property and finances. He had played on their emotions, promising favors and manipulating them with lies. My family had known about it, but had chosen to support him instead of me. The weight of their betrayal crushed me. 15 years of love, care, and sacrifice for my children, and this was the return. The very people I had trusted most had been swayed by greed and manipulation. I sat in silence for a moment, my tears falling freely. Then I took a deep breath. I spent 15 years alone, thinking I could never find happiness again. And now when I finally did, you all abandoned me. I will not let this destroy my life. I choose love. I choose David, and I choose myself. David walked in quietly, wrapping his arms around me. "You are stronger than any betrayal," he whispered. "We'll face them together. But we won't let their greed take away your happiness." For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of courage. I realized that love and trust are not always found in family. Sometimes, the people who truly stand by you are the ones who choose you without expectation, who see your heart and your worth. That night, as I held David close, I knew the journey ahead would be challenging. Confrontations, heartbreak, and decisions awaited. But I also knew one undeniable truth. I was finally ready to reclaim my life, my love, and my dignity, no matter what my family thought or did. The next morning I woke up determined. Today, I wasn't going to let fear or betrayal hold me back. I had to confront my family, not with anger alone, but with clarity and strength. 15 years of patience and loneliness had prepared me for this. I wasn't the same woman who had waited quietly in the shadows of life. I was stronger now, and I had David by my side. I called my daughter and told her we needed to meet immediately. She hesitated, but the urgency in my voice left her no choice. I drove to her house, my heart pounding with anticipation and dread. I didn't know what I would hear, what lies they might try to feed me, or how deep this betrayal went. When I arrived, I found my daughter and son sitting tensely in the living room. They looked guilty, but their guilt did not erase the hurt they had caused. I took a deep breath and began. I know everything. I know why none of you came to my wedding. I know about the birthday party and your son-in-law's manipulation. I want to hear the truth from you, without excuses. My son swallowed hard and started, Mom, it's true, your son-in-law. He told us things, and we didn't know what to do. We thought we were protecting you. Protecting me? I repeated sharply, disbelief and sorrow mixing in my voice. By abandoning me on the happiest day of my life? By letting him use you to take what's mine? That is not protection. That is betrayal. My daughter's eyes filled with tears. Mom, I didn't want to hurt you. I thought if I stayed away, I could handle it behind the scenes. I didn't want your wedding day ruined. But I was wrong. So wrong. I felt my anger and pain mingling with sorrow. 15 years alone had made me resilient. But this cut deeper than loneliness ever had. I wanted to scream, to cry, to shake them, and make them understand the hurt they caused. David, who had been quietly standing nearby, took my hand. You have the right to feel every emotion, he said softly. But remember, you are not defined by their choices. You are defined by the love you give yourself and the life you are building with me. His words reminded me of something I had almost forgotten, my own worth. I realized that no matter what my family did, no one could take away the happiness I had fought so hard to find. I had found love, trust, and joy again, and that was mine, untouchable. We spoke for hours. My children confessed more details, their voices full of guilt. But even as they admitted the truth, I felt a sense of liberation. The truth hurt, yes, but hiding in ignorance had been far worse. I finally knew where I stood, and I knew who truly stood with me. That night, as David and I sat together, I felt a sense of resolve I hadn't felt in years. I would not let betrayal define me. I would not allow the greed and manipulation of others to shadow my happiness. I had survived 15 lonely years, and I would survive this too. And deep inside, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. Love had found me. And no one, not even my own family, could take that away. The next morning, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling in my chest. David tried to reassure me, but the betrayal of my own family lingered like a shadow. I knew that simply talking to them wasn't enough. I had to confront my son-in-law directly and uncover the full extent of his schemes. I called my daughter and told her that I would be meeting him. She hesitated, fear and guilt evident in her voice. But she reluctantly agreed to guide me. Mom, please be careful, she warned. He's not the man you think he is. When I arrived at his house, I could feel my pulse quicken. There he was, standing casually, as if nothing had happened. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I knew instantly that this man thrived on control and deception. I wanted to congratulate you on your wedding, he said smoothly. I'm surprised my family didn't invite me, though. I stared at him coldly. Save the pleasantries. I know everything. The birthday party, your manipulation, the plans to take my property. I want the truth right now. His expression flickered, annoyance creeping in. Oh, come now, he said, trying to maintain calm. Your family made their own choices. Don't blame me for their decisions. Don't blame you? I repeated, my voice rising. You lied to them, manipulated them, and convinced them to abandon me on the most important day of my life. This wasn't just manipulation, it was betrayal. And I will not allow it to continue. He chuckled, but there was no warmth in it. You overestimate your importance, he sneered. Your children will always do what's best for them. You should be grateful they even thought of you at all. I felt anger and disgust rise inside me. 15 years alone had taught me patience, but this man tested every limit. No, I said firmly. I am not here to negotiate. I am here to take back what is mine. You underestimated me, and you underestimated love, the kind of love that does not bow to greed or fear. At that moment, my daughter stepped forward. Mom, he's been controlling us too, she admitted. We let him manipulate our decisions. We were wrong. Please forgive us. I took a deep breath, feeling a mix of relief and sorrow. My family had made mistakes, but the power of truth had broken his hold. With David waiting for me, I knew I had allies who truly cared, people who valued love, respect, and integrity over greed. Leaving his house, I felt lighter. The confrontation had been terrifying, but it was also liberating. I realized that happiness is not about avoiding pain. It's about facing it, standing up for yourself, and protecting what you love. That night, I held David close, finally allowing myself to relax. I had faced betrayal, uncovered lies, and reclaimed my dignity. And as I looked toward the future, I knew that together, we could overcome anything, even the wounds inflicted by those I once trusted most. The following days were tense. My family was silent at first, unsure how to approach me after the confrontation with my son-in-law. I too needed time to process everything, my children's betrayal, their manipulation, and the long years of sacrifices I had made for them. David was my anchor. Every time my mind drifted to thoughts of anger or sadness, he reminded me gently, this is your life now. Focus on what you love, not what they took. His unwavering support made me feel strong, even when the pain of betrayal threatened to overwhelm me. Finally, my daughter came over alone, tears streaming down her face. Mom, I want to apologize. I know I should have stood by you, and I failed you. I can't change the past, but I want to make things right. I looked at her, my heart heavy but determined. You hurt me deeply. 15 years I spent alone. And on the one day I should have felt the happiest, you all abandoned me. That hurt runs deep, and it won't disappear overnight. I know, she whispered. But I've realized I was wrong. You deserve happiness, Mom, more than anyone. And I want to support you, not manipulate or control you like he did. Her words were sincere, but trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. I nodded slowly, realizing that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting the truth and moving forward with caution. Over the next few days, we talked more openly than ever before. My children admitted the depth of their mistakes, revealing how my son-in-law had twisted their emotions to serve his own interests. Hearing their confessions was painful, but it also lifted a weight I didn't realize I'd been carrying. David and I spent evenings planning our future, talking about dreams long deferred. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of peace, a sense of hope. I realized that love was not just about romance. It was about trust, respect, and standing together in the face of adversity. One afternoon, my daughter approached me with a small gift, a simple necklace, but one that symbolized her acknowledgement of the past and her wish to start anew. Mom, I can't erase the past, but I want to be better. Please accept this as a promise that I will stand by you from now on. I accepted it, my hands trembling. It wasn't just a gift, it was a bridge that could slowly mend the gap between us, built with honesty, remorse, and love. That night, David and I sat together, holding hands, reflecting on everything that had happened. Betrayal, heartbreak, confrontation, and eventual acknowledgement. It had been a whirlwind. But through it all, I learned the most important lesson. Happiness is something you fight for, protect, and never let others control. And for the first time in 15 years, I truly believed that I could be happy, not just because I found love, but because I had reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my right to joy. No matter what anyone else did, the following week was a turning point. I decided it was time to confront my family one last time, not with anger or despair, but with clarity and strength. I wanted them to understand the consequences of their actions, and also to see that my happiness no longer depended on their approval. I invited my children over to our home. David and I were ready to face them together. The atmosphere was tense, filled with unspoken words and past grievances. My children entered, visibly anxious as if they expected condemnation. I began calmly. I have spent 15 years alone. I endured loss, loneliness, and disappointment, And when I finally found love again, the one thing I wanted, your presence, you all abandoned me. Today, I want you to understand the impact of your choices. They looked at me, shame written on their faces. My daughter finally spoke, voice quivering. Mom, we made mistakes. We were blinded by his influence, by greed. We didn't mean to hurt you, but we see now how wrong we were. My son nodded in agreement, eyes downcast. We thought we were doing what was best, but we failed you. I'm sorry, Mom, truly. I took a deep breath, steadying my emotions. I forgive you, I said slowly. But forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It's a step toward rebuilding trust. I want you to understand that love is not just words. It's support, loyalty, and respect. I hope you will remember this going forward. David held my hand and whispered, You've done the right thing. His calm strength gave me courage. I realized then that forgiveness was for me as much as for them. It freed me from carrying bitterness. We spent hours talking that afternoon, addressing old wounds, misunderstandings, and the lingering influence of my son-in-law. My children admitted their mistakes fully, expressing remorse and a genuine desire to reconnect. It was not perfect, and the scars of betrayal would not vanish overnight. But a foundation had been laid. By the end of the day, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The storm of hurt, anger, and deception had passed its fiercest point. My family had acknowledged their mistakes, and I had asserted my independence and strength. Later that evening, as David and I sat together on the porch, I reflected on the journey that had brought me here, from 15 years of solitude to betrayal, confrontation, and finally, understanding. I realized that life doesn't always follow the path we expect. Happiness isn't just about finding love. It's about standing firm, facing deception, and protecting what is yours. For the first time in years, I felt truly free. My heart was full, not because my family had done what I wished, but because I had chosen myself, my love, and my dignity. The road ahead would have challenges, yes, but I was ready. I had found love, reclaimed my life, and built the courage to face anything, even those I once trusted most. And as the sun set, casting a warm glow over us, I understood something profound. Life's second chances are real, but only if we are brave enough to seize them. The following days were quiet but charged with emotion. My family had begun to understand the gravity of their actions. Yet I knew that true healing would take time. Forgiveness alone was not enough. It had to be coupled with genuine change, acknowledgement, and effort. David and I spent our mornings planning our life together. Each day reminded me how precious love was when it was chosen freely, without manipulation or expectation. I had waited 15 years to feel this happiness again, and I refused to let anything or anyone take it away. One afternoon, my daughter came over again. She was hesitant but determined. Mom, she said softly, I want to make amends. I know I failed you, and I know words are not enough. I want to be there for you truly. Can you let me? I looked at her, searching her eyes for sincerity. I saw remorse, yes, but also determination. Slowly, I nodded. We'll take it one step at a time. Trust isn't given instantly, it's earned. Show me you mean it. She smiled through tears. I will, Mom, I promise. That evening, David and I sat on the porch, reflecting on how far we had come. You were so strong today, he said, holding my hand. You faced betrayal, confronted lies, and still chose love and forgiveness. That's remarkable. I smiled, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't experienced in years. I realized something, I said. Happiness isn't about avoiding pain, it's about rising above it. It's about protecting what you love and standing firm in your worth. I have waited 15 years for this, and I will not let anything shake it. The following week, my son and daughter started visiting more often, gradually rebuilding the bonds we had lost. They began acknowledging my feelings, asking for advice, and showing genuine care. Not because of guilt, but because they finally understood what had been missing, respect and loyalty. I also began to see changes in their attitude toward David. Initially, skeptical and hesitant, they gradually recognized his sincerity, his love for me, and his unwavering support. Seeing them accept him made me feel hopeful that the future could be different, one where trust and love could coexist, even after betrayal. One evening, as David and I sat quietly watching the sunset, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. I had survived loneliness, heartbreak, and betrayal. I had confronted the lies that threatened to destroy my happiness. And through it all, I had found love again. True, unconditional love that gave me strength and courage. I realized then that life's hardships were not punishments but lessons. They taught me resilience, the value of trust, and the importance of standing up for my own happiness. I had reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my heart. And now, with David by my side, I was ready to embrace the future fully, no matter what it held. That night, as I lay in bed, I whispered quietly, "I am free, I am loved, and I am ready for the life I've always deserved." For the first time in 15 years, I felt complete. The following days were filled with small victories. My family, slowly regaining awareness of their mistakes, began making genuine efforts to reconnect. They called more often, visited without prompting, and even included David in conversations, a small but meaningful sign that change was taking root. I noticed the shift not just in them, but in myself. I no longer felt the bitterness that had haunted me since my wedding day. I had chosen love, courage, and self-respect, and it had set me free. For 15 years, I had been lonely, yearning for connection and for someone to truly see me. Now I had found not only love, but also a renewed sense of self-worth. One afternoon, my daughter and I sat together in the garden. The warm sunlight fell softly on us as she spoke. "Mom, I want to thank you. Your strength inspired me. Seeing how you faced everything, your pain, your betrayal, and yet still chose love has changed me." I smiled, touched by her words. It wasn't easy. 15 years of waiting, of being alone, and then facing betrayal. It could have broken me. But I realized that I couldn't let others dictate my happiness. I had to reclaim it for myself. David joined us, holding my hand. "And you did," he said. "You fought for love, dignity, and truth. That's something no one can take from you." That evening, as I reflected on the journey, I realized how much I had grown. 15 years alone had taught me patience and resilience. Betrayal had taught me discernment and strength. And love had taught me courage and joy. Every painful moment had led me here, to a life richer than I could have imagined. I also recognized that forgiveness was a gift I gave myself, not just my family. Accepting their mistakes didn't mean forgetting or excusing their actions. It meant freeing myself from the weight of anger and resentment. I chose to embrace the lessons, to cherish the people who truly loved me, and to let go of those who couldn't. That night, David and I sat under the stars. "Do you think it will ever feel completely normal again?" I asked quietly. He smiled. "Normal isn't the goal. Happiness is. And you've found that. The rest will follow naturally." I held his hand, feeling a warmth that went deeper than romance. It was the warmth of trust, of security, and of knowing that after 15 years of solitude, I was finally where I was meant to be. Before going to bed, I picked up my phone and recorded a short message for my YouTube channel. "If you've been betrayed, abandoned, or hurt by those you love, remember this: you are stronger than you think. Happiness is possible even after years of pain. Never give up on love or yourself." As I turned off the camera, I felt a sense of peace I had not known in decades. Life had tested me, challenged me, and even broken me at times. But it had also given me the courage to rise, to fight, and to find love again. The days turned into weeks, and slowly, life began to feel lighter. My family, though still healing from their mistakes, made genuine efforts to rebuild trust. They reached out, listened without judgment, and learned to respect the life I had chosen with David. I realized that happiness doesn't always come from perfection. It comes from resilience, love, and the courage to protect your heart. For 15 years, I had waited in silence, believing solitude was my only path. But life had a way of testing me, breaking me, and then giving me a chance to rise stronger than ever before. David and I grew closer every day. Our love wasn't just about romance, it was about partnership, understanding, and facing challenges together. He had seen me at my lowest, yet he chose to stay. He had loved me when I felt unworthy. And that love had become the foundation of my new life. One evening, I sat alone for a moment, reflecting on everything that had happened. Betrayal had cut deep, leaving scars that would take time to fade. But in that same pain, I discovered clarity. I realized who truly mattered, who genuinely cared, and who I could trust. The experience had strengthened me, teaching me that self-worth and love are inseparable, and that one must never settle for less than they deserve. My children approached me that night, humility and love in their eyes. "Mom," my daughter said softly, "thank you for forgiving us. We understand now how wrong we were, and we promise to do better. You've shown us the power of love and strength." I hugged them, feeling a mixture of relief and cautious hope. I forgive you, I whispered. But remember, trust is earned. Actions speak louder than words, always. David joined us, smiling warmly. Your strength inspired us all, he said. You faced betrayal, heartbreak, and loneliness, and you still chose love. That's something remarkable. That night, as I lay in bed, I reflected on my journey. 15 years of solitude, the heartbreak of betrayal, the courage to confront lies, and the triumph of love. I understood something essential. Happiness is a choice. Love is a risk, and forgiveness is a gift, not just to others, but to yourself. To anyone watching this story, I want to say, no matter how long you've waited, how deep your pain, or how much you've been betrayed, there is always a chance to reclaim your life. There is always a chance to find love, joy, and fulfillment again. Never let the mistakes of others define your worth. Life may test you, it may disappoint you, and it may even break your heart. But if you have the courage to rise, to protect your happiness, and to love again, you can overcome anything. As I drifted off to sleep that night, with David's hand in mine and a newfound peace in my heart, I whispered quietly to myself, I am loved, I am worthy, I am free. And for the first time in 15 years, I truly believed it.